Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OP Live here in Dallas, Texas. We, of course, have a few games coming up here. We're going to be into the quarterfinals, but before we get into that, quick shout out to our sponsors while the teams are getting ready on stage. Thank you to Reaction AV for their amazing work on the stage, as well as providing additional equipment technology.
Of course, they did a fantastic job. We also want to mention Playful Core, a developer here out of Frisco who helped OP Live get off the ground. Now, we're going to be going in. We just saw New Mexico State with that fantastic win over Baylor on stage. They're going to be staying on stage. They're going to take on University of Texas at Arlington, and we do know the map pool this time. This one's going to be a best of 3. Let's run down the maps, huh?
Yep, so we're going to start it off with Nepal, get into Junkertown after that, and considering that that the team doesn't get 2-0'd, whoever that would be, then we will get into Hanamura after that to round out the tiebreaker.
So going to be ending on Assault once again. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the map pools, I enjoy how different they're all going to be. Of course, Junkertown going to have those wide open areas that sometimes you see a lot of Widowmakers, Hanzos out on there. You also see people jump on the pirate ship. We have our own iteration of that, calling the Black Pearl, throwing a Torbjorn on there as well, trying to take it back to the old times. But we'll get into the teams right now as we see them on stage. Of course, big shout out to the Dallas Fuel, as well as Team Envy, and even GameStop as well. For those of you that don't know, GameStop is actually out of here in Dallas, so big shout out to them. Make sure that you actually visit them on Facebook as well to get more information about how you can get involved with the Fortnite event, which will be coming up tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we should be getting ready to go into our first map on Nepal here soon. So while we wait for that to get started, who do you think is going to take it out in this this match?
So both teams being from here, I can appreciate that. Baylor and Arlington. I'm going to say Baylor, honestly. I think that them coming right off of, or I'm sorry, not Baylor, New Mexico. I do apologize, Baylor, forgive me for that one. But New Mexico, I think them coming straight off of the previous game, they're going to have a lot of momentum and feel so good about themselves moving into the next round. Now, since this is going to be a quarterfinals, as we mentioned, this is going to be a best of 3, and all the rest of the quarterfinals and the semifinals will also be best of 3 until we get to the final round, which will be a best of 5. So we're going to start popping out some good games for you guys, just back-to-back action as we proceed onward.
Yeah, so it should be a fun one coming out here. I'm going to say that my pick is going to be Texas Arlington, just because, I mean, New Mexico State put up such a good fight against Baylor, but didn't Texas Arlington also beat Baylor?
Texas Arlington was in.
No. They beat Arkansas. Texas.
Yeah.
But I really think Texas Arlington is going to put up a strong showing here. They were able to be the first ones out of their group, out of Group B. They won both of their matches in the group stage, so they're definitely going to be a tough opponent here, regardless.
Yeah, since the teams, at least for the quarterfinals, are going to be playing against the second seed out of the similar pool. They should theoretically be the favorites, but of course that doesn't always tell the full story. Sometimes you might have some 4K, high 3K teams in there. Maybe having a 4K and a high 3K team in there, so then the high 3K team makes it out as the second seed, but they're actually going to be like the main killers that are going to be somebody to look out for to make it to the semifinals and then possibly the finals.
But we are ready here. We are surrounded by picturesque mountains and some pretty terrifying cliffs up here in Nepal. This is Sanctum, as you see the meditating
experience tranquility, my friend.
Yes, experience tranquility indeed. Both teams will be coming out here on Sanctum. Sanctum, of course, the one with the giant hole in the middle. So both teams going to be looking for some big boops, big hooks, big Orisa plays. You know, depends on what they decide to come out with. So we're going to see New Mexico State pushing up now. Ultra Poyuto, he's our man to watch from Texas Arlington. He catches them out, and a huge Orisa pull. Tomato Lord able to pull down 2. That's both healers from New Mexico State. All they have is a brig to help them stay alive on this point, and they're all just going to reset right there. Spirit Wizard able to take Moon Cryptid with him, but a very quick fight from Texas Arlington.
Yeah, this will be very interesting to see how momentum is going to favor the team that has the point in control. Of course, once you build up ultimates and once you get higher percentage, being able to save those and maybe go for a drive push so that other teams can use all their ultimates just to capture the point back and you come back to about 99%. It'll be really interesting to see, but they're going in here.
Yeah, they're coming in from inside this room here. They have lots of boot potential. Poyito has some damage at the ready coming down. Cryptid able to take down Spirit Wizard. Ergo finds a kill, and Poyito with a 2-in, make it 3 on that barrage. Ooh, and he's gonna finish off Commander as well for good measure. There goes the res onto Tomato Lord. Ergo taking the lemming leap into the hole there.
That's good to be able to not stagger yourself too much, of course, being able to get back with your team as quickly as possible. Considering the ultimates that, of course, were burned, we did see the Rocket Barrage end up coming out there. We haven't seen too many other ultimates, so both teams have to be very mindful of what the other team has in their arsenal as they're pushing back around the backside to try and find out. And we have Dez coming out, but gets booped.
Dez getting caught out. Fantastic play by the Brig and Lucio there to take advantage of that positioning. Dez gonna go down. Oh, but a big boop onto Spirit Wizard ruins his shatter. But it doesn't matter. Coalescence and Whole Hog coming out. Ergo and Shaq finding kills as well. Cryptid able to take down Shaq with a Diva Bomb, but he's suddenly finding himself all alone on the point. 81% built up by Texas Arlington, but New Mexico State gonna start building up on their own.
Dez went in at the very beginning and got killed. Wasn't able to get off that Reaper ultimate, so unfortunately Death Blossom found nothing. And then went in at the very, very end and gets staggered. So the percentage is...
And got stunned as well. Didn't even get damage with it.
Yeah, that was a really solid reaction from them to be able to just nullify him. And they're kind of looking here, finding out where UT Arlington's going to push around. They're on the back end.
Arlington coming from this outside position. This is very dangerous. If the Lucio tries to come in and get a boop here, he could get 2, 3, maybe even 4. A big hook. The Diva Bomb. Poyito goes down to that Diva Bomb. A big play there. Well done by New Mexico State. And look at that armor as well. The Brig helping top all of them off.
Diva Bomb actually ended up hitting Moon off of the stage as he got demet, so he didn't die to the self-destruct, but ended up dying to the environment there. Unfortunately, taking a trip down those cliffs, needs to get a wingsuit to be able to make that trip successfully. Gets pulled in right here. We'll see how the Rocket Barrage maybe comes out, but not going to find anything just yet. They're looking for a little bit of space. Anti-heal.
A huge anti-nade. They're trying to push through the Splendor here, but it's not going to work. Ergo with the Coalescence. They do find 2 kills, but New Mexico State filling the kill feed with red once again. Jack Commander going in deep for that Mercy, able to take him out and isn't even going to get punished by this Reaper. Oh boy, Dez able to save himself with Wraith form right there, but that one could have been bad.
Yeah, that was looking a little bit sketchy for them, but they are going to find themselves in a bit of a pickle coming up on the final 15%. They're going to have to touch the point. You got to touch it right around 99, 98%, but we end up getting pulled in. Tomato ends up being squished there before he can get onto the point. Looks like that it is going to be going the way of New Mexico, as Mercy's ultimate is going to be popped. The Valkyrie is going to be on the point. We'll see if they can close this out.
Yeah, Arlington on the point now. They have the Valk, they have the Diva Bomb. Here comes her Diva Bomb, but an opposing Diva Bomb from Jack Commander. A bit of bad manners as well. And New Mexico State with a nice turnaround. It looked like Texas Arlington was going to run away with Sanctum.
Yeah, it was looking really interesting to start off and then being able to flip the point and then just run with it after that. As I mentioned, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So being able to bounce back and pull out that win on the very first point of Nepal, solid job from them.
And also running that triple tank, triple support, running goats, knowing that they can do it, trusting that they can do it, running it into that Pharah Reaper, and just playing around it, avoiding it. You know, we talked about how Pharah Reaper can be a counter to goats, but it's not always a counter to goats. You can play around it, and I think they did a great job of that. New Mexico State coming in here, this is going to be Shrine. And this is actually my favorite point of Nepal, just because of the way it's set up with the high ground around the point and the way the steps are set up. Looks like New Mexico State is getting ready to set up on the left side of this point, and here comes this first fight around the poster in the middle, and already lots of damage coming out on both sides.
Not really picking off a single target just yet. This is a bit of a messy fight. First person to fall will likely be able to find the momentum that they need to finally capture the point. Everybody just swinging away. Brigida versus Ryan. 2 fall on the side of UT Arlington, though.
Yeah, and this is, oh, Dez, unfortunately, they're using that rally, but getting taken out immediately, unable to have any of the advantage of the rally, and losing all of that ultimate charge. Texas Arlington going to get pushed off, and New Mexico State going to win that first point. But, I mean, really, you got to mention the target calling, the focus fire from these teams is really lacking on both sides. I mean, that's why these fights are staggering on so long, but look at this. Was that a grab?
That is a grab towards the spawn.
New Mexico State spawn camping Texas Arlington right now, looking like they might get ready to win another fight, taking so much time off the clock. Look at this. They're already at 25%, and Texas Arlington still isn't ready to retake.
That grab might have been a bit too optimistic, trying to put it so close to their spawn, being able to have the healers stay safely back, and of course you can retreat into your spawn where you don't take damage, but they are leading off with a grab.
Yeah, here comes a grab from Texas Arlington, and the shatter. Is it going to be enough? Where's the follow-up damage? There's nothing in the kill feed. The Diva Bomb comes down, but it doesn't find a single kill. Spirit Wizard gets booped by the Diva remecking, unable to find anything with his shatter, and there's all kinds of kills coming out from Texas Arlington. Tez on this Brig and Ultra Poyito switching onto that Zarya. Texas Arlington playing goats of their own and showing New Mexico State how it's done, but 52%.
Yeah, it seems that the curse of Nepal is you capture the point first and then you get it swapped a certain percentage through. So we'll see if Texas is going to be able to keep it in their favor through the rest of this and send this over to that third round. We lead off with a rally for the push onto the point, though. Jack Commander trying to find what he can and ends up getting a kill.
Spirit Wizard getting taken down. There goes the Brig as well. And Texas Arlington, I mean, New Mexico State tried to take that odd positioning there, coming in from the left side, and Texas Arlington was having none of it.
Yeah, that was a really solid job for them there. We did see the swap from Ergo onto the Ana, so of course not going to have too much percentage moving forward. That will take just a little bit for them to build, unless he's able to find some sort of kills, maybe a big anti-heal onto the team of UT Arlington. But they're pushing up, and we'll see what
obviously they decided there. They felt that the Nano was more important than the Coalescence.
Yeah.
And they're going to push in. Here comes the grab. And big nades from both sides. Finally, kills coming down from New Mexico State, but a huge shatter. All of New Mexico State is on the ground. Where's the follow-up? Only one person goes down after that 6-man shatter from Texas Arlington. The Coalescence from Itakiri just trying to keep everybody alive desperately, and they're finally starting to turn it around. Tomato Lord and Itakiri with that combo, and Dez going to use that rally to keep everybody topped up. Texas Arlington, man, it looked like it was going to get flipped back there.
Yeah, it definitely did. As you mentioned, the rally being used, so they will be topped up with that armor. This is going to be an uphill battle for New Mexico State to be able to lead off. They end up popping the sound barrier.
Initiating with the sound barrier, as you mentioned, but look at Poyito. Full energy on the Zarya, just pumping damage in, but it's not enough. The Nano comes out. New Mexico State doing so much damage. They're finding kills one after another, filling up the kill feed with red, and 99% built up for Texas Arlington, but they're going to get pushed off.
Yeah, that was a really good job for them. So they did not fall into the Nepal curse, thankfully. So we will be going up and swapping or flipping the point. So we'll be in their favor. They're pushing up aggressively. We keep seeing this from them, but they seem to not find too much, especially with the percentage left. They have to be very careful.
Yeah, they really like doing this, but Poyito playing very aggressively. Ooh. There goes the grab, but no nade comes in. 2 kills, 3 kills. Can they make it 4? Shout. Fighting back, Jack Commander with a grab of his own. Is it going to be enough? That Roadhog going down so low, they got to get on the point.
Is anybody going to be able to make it back here? Jack Commander is going to be heavily staggered, and he definitely wouldn't have had the mobility to make it back. Is anybody rolling out from spawn, though? Can anybody even make it here? It looks like that Lucio will touch the point, but how long will he last?
Yeah, Lucio going down very quickly, but he staggered just enough. Shalk on this hamster ball. He's going to be spinning around, creating craziness on this point. Tomato Lord just narrowly missing the charge kill onto him, but this hamster ball suddenly finding himself all alone, the only one on the point. He's going to go down. There's a monkey, but he's not going to last very long. Tomato Lord doesn't even need that shatter. Diva Bomb not necessary either. Texas Arlington turning back 1-1. We're going to go to the third section of Nepal, which is, of course, Village, and I think that was well done by Texas Arlington to turn that around.
Yeah, that was a very solid display from them to be able to get back in there, and it seemed that they were struggling a little bit to handle the Wrecking Ball. I keep wanting to call him Hammond, because Diva, you don't call her Mecha, you call her Diva, but Hammond, I always want to
call him Hamster Ball.
Hamster Ball. I can appreciate that. But
I really want to point out, though, the Diva play, Moon Cryptid on this Diva for Texas Arlington, doing such a good job, and I think it was such a big factor against, especially because New Mexico State runs the Hog instead. So to be able to kind of nullify the damage from that hook and the damage from the Hog in general, and also like prevent Schalke from getting so much ult charge, they're going to be pushing in here now on the high ground of Village. And both teams, we see the Bastion strat coming out from New Mexico State. It's working so far. They're taking map advantage. Poyito goes down. They're going to push into this room. This is so close range. Texas Arlington is stuck. Moon Cryptid gets demec'd. He's going to go down a big fire strike. Schalke has that shatter at the ready. And this Bastion strat coming out again, but look at this. It took them so long to cap the point. They won the fight so long ago, and they still haven't capped.
Yeah, of course, that's going to cost them a little bit of percentage, meaning that Arlington was going to be able to get all of those spawns back up and not waste too much time. But breaking the Reinhardt shield, you got to be very careful. You're going to poke out around the corner and lose all of that health. So they're going to have to push very quickly onto the point without trying to lose too much time. Of course, it will be all about efficiency as we see the Pharah in the air.
Yeah, but you mentioned the Reinhardt shield losing health, but Spirit Wizard has to play a delicate balancing act. He can't focus. Oh, a cap from Texas Arlington while New Mexico State wasn't paying attention. We did see a big shatter come down from New Mexico State, but even Bastion damage wasn't enough to get any kills out of it. Ultra Poyito takes down Spirit Wizard just as he uses that tank ult, and Jack Commander coming out with the grab should be able to turn this fight around for New Mexico State, and hopefully they can stay on this point. But Poyito with 2 kills with a barrage, he's looking for more, but his team is falling like flies.
They are getting swatted here on the point. They're still swinging away. With that bat cap not having the reaction from New Mexico State, they were able to flip it over, and it looks like that it still hasn't flipped back. So solid job from them. They're just fighting on the point. Arlington will pop that sound barrier to be able to heal up some of the teams as it's a Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, but they're also going for the Bastion. Charge comes in, finds nothing though. Spirit Wizard will take out Tomato.
Yeah, I think Schalke was just trying to keep himself alive, but Dez on that Reaper finds that pretty funny. He's just going to take him out anyway. And Texas Arlington, what a fantastic play from them. Just turning New Mexico State around, realizing that they were going to be stuck on that high ground trying to protect the Bastion. They wouldn't rotate quickly enough because they would be worried about the Pharah. And this is what I was trying to talk about, is Spirit Wizard can't afford to just focus on that shield because he has a Pharah to worry about. But then if he's focusing only on the Pharah, he's not doing the damage that he needs to be doing to the rest of the team. And so it's so tough to play Bastion into this comp. We do see the switch coming out. They're on the Mei now. Mei very strong on this section because she can block off the point, but oh no! Ruins her teammate's ult. Tomato Lord with a shatter of his own. His whiffs as well. Jack Commander finding Itakiri. Tomato Lord going down as well. And New Mexico State starting to find the kills. Can Poyito turn it around again on this Pharah? No, he can't. Ergo killing him with the Coalescence. And New Mexico State going to get the flip there.
So they do finally stabilize on the point, able to flip it back over after getting it stolen from them. Now, keep in mind the percentage here. We need to see what UT Arlington is going to end up putting up, depending on what ultimates they might have coming up very shortly, or if they're going to do any swaps or whatever that might entail moving forward. Are they going to push onto the point right now? Are they going to do a dry push? They have a couple of options since New Mexico State is not too high on percentage just yet. That gives them a little bit of room to work with, but they're going in.
Yeah, they're coming out. Poyito taking this crossfire positioning, but look at that Mei wall. Oh, look at the play. 2 kills. Looking for more. Moira fades so low. A shatter comes out, but another great boop to ruin it. Schalke unable to find much of anything. Cryptid gonna get knocked out of that mech, and how did they turn this back around again? Poyito still trying to keep things going for his team, but I don't know if he can do enough.
Yeah, they're fighting so hard on the point. You would have thought that with that rocket barrage coming out from Ultra that it would have been all over. But we are getting up into 80%. This is likely going to be the last fight unless they stagger onto the point and are able to regroup. But they're just waiting for the right time. Oh, there's a pick!
Oh, no! Poito getting caught out, taken down by the Coalescence.
Oh!
Dez going in with the Death Blossom. So much damage coming out, but unable to find any kills. The sound barrier, though, almost completely nullified. Here comes the Diva Bomb. Ryan getting booped all over the place. Spirit Wizard goes down, and this fight is total chaos. Poito on the Pharah. He is back. He had time to get respawned. He's looking for more damage. There goes the Moira getting revenge for that pick. And in overtime, Texas Arlington gonna flip it back. They're so close to finishing this out.
This little bit of percentage that they were off, though, it's not going to go into immediate overtime, but there is a pick in the
Jack
back.
Commander pushing in. Here comes a grab. So many people get caught in that, but no follow-up. And Texas Arlington going to take Nepal.
Wow, that was such an interesting end to the fight to be able to push it. Of course, we had to go to the third map and had to go up to that 99% in order to be able to end it. And here we're going to just see how Poito playing out on the points, of course, coming up big with those rocket barrages consistently, and then eventually will finish off that Diva, got the DMAC, and will not be denied his kill on the baby version of that. So solid job from him.
So much damage. Look at that, 77% from Poito, playing so well on that far. He really was a player to watch there. Wow. I think he was a key reason why Texas Arlington was able to win that map.
And that Brigida, 82% kill participation, just from being in the middle of the chaos that was going on, swinging away, being able to give heals, of course, the stuns, the knockbacks on everybody. Brigida's really come into being a top-tier pick, especially with the team comps that we're seeing from everybody. It was a character that kind of had a little bit of controversy around her. Of course, switching up the style of how the team is played. Of course, we are used to having Dive for a good while, and before that, of course, we had the Beyblade comps with the Ana and the Reaper and whatnot. But I do appreciate that you can run such a variety of comps with Brigida being introduced, and it's just fun. You can see so much different things.
Yeah, I really do like the variety of comps that are coming out in the current meta. I think that it's very fun, but I will say I feel like there are a few comps that are a bit too strong. And I think it was kind of on display there as both teams really being forced to run Goats because they couldn't really counter each other. Now we're coming on to Junkertown, and Goats isn't very good here because it's so wide open, and Goats really prefers to play in close range spaces. So the question is, what are these teams going to be coming out with here, since we've seen how comfortable they both are playing Goats?
So as we had mentioned a little bit before the game started, snipers thrive on these type of maps, more specifically on point A, since you have such wide open spaces. And then once you get into point B, trying to go around the corner, the sight lines get a little bit interesting for how you would play around with snipers. Hanzo typically tends to be the preferred pit since he has a little bit more mobility with that dash. Of course, you do have the grapple from the Widowmaker, but you're not finding too much for that, at least on point A. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a solo sniper and then you ended up swapping midway through the match and then maybe swapping back, something along those lines. But Junkertown, Bastion as well tends to pop up very often. As mentioned, going with a pirate ship. I doubt that anybody's going to go and run the infamous Black Pearl that I have mentioned, throwing a Torbjorn on there as well. But that'll be interesting to see depending on what they're wanting to run exactly.
Yeah, we're going to see both teams getting ready. We're going to see Texas Arlington on the defense first here. So we're going to see New Mexico State. They're going to be hoping to get a very good time again on this attack run. And I mean, I'm really not sure what to expect here. This is the first time we've been able to see, you know, any kind of payload map on live for us anyway. So we'll see how this goes. Texas Arlington hoping to get a good stop here.
Yeah, Arlington taking that first game will be on defense to start off. And we have New Mexico State in the red. Looks like that they will not be running a Bastion. I can appreciate that. And on the side of UT Arlington, they do have a Hanzo as well as the Junkrat. Going to be breaking the shield so quickly, considering that they're going to be using the Storm Arrow and, of course, all of the bombs as they have the Tomato Land going in.
Yeah, Tomato Land missing that charge a little bit. Both teams brawling on the point right now. But this is what I was talking about before. The focus fire needs to be better. Everybody just kind of off doing their own little thing. Cryptid getting caught out in the back line, and that could be big. Poito is able to find a pick onto Ergo, so that means no main heals for this New Mexico State offense, but they do have the payload, they do have the Lucio, they do have the Brig. I think they're going to be able to stick it out here and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, being able to provide a little bit of space for them. The payload is still moving forward. Nobody has burned any ultimates just yet that we can see. And I'm sure that getting towards the end of this point, once things get even, we're going to have something pop
Tomato
here.
Lord nanoed, has so many targets, but misses the shatter again. The tire comes out from Dez, able to take down the brick. There goes Jack Commander. There goes the sound barrier for this offense, but just too late. Poyito finding kills all over the place. Oh, Spirit Wizard's shatter gets canceled. And this defense being able to retake there, so difficult, but they did it so well executed, and Spirit Wizard losing that shatter is going to be very painful.
So the really interesting thing about where the payload is now is that it's so even for both teams' spawns. So considering that UT is going to stagger somebody, but if they're able to stabilize and just kind of hold out, then whoever gets picked off first should be able to make it back to them. But we'll see how that ends up coming into play as we move forward. But as you mentioned, they're going to be down ultimates, though.
Here comes the grab from New Mexico State. Sound barrier for the Texas Arlington defense, keeping everybody up, but not for long. Tomato Lord and Itakiri the first to fall. Can Poyito turn this back this time? No, he can't. The Moira Orb finishes him off. Dez goes down as well. And there we go. New Mexico State going to clean everybody up. A good combo there, using that grab with the Coalescence to get maximum damage onto this Texas Arlington defense and cap that first point.
Yeah, first point being taken, so very solid job from them. A fairly respectable time, just over 4 minutes on that, and they're moving forward. Oh my God.
Poyito jumping right back into that Moira Orb, staggering himself, and this is going to be very tough now for Arlington. New Mexico State taking such aggro positioning, but Schalk getting knocked onto the ground, and now the tables have turned. Arlington pushing back into New Mexico State. They're going to slow them down. They might even be able to push them back to spawn here.
Yeah, the gates close after a certain point, but we have the dragons coming out and the self-destruct. Finds nothing, though.
But so much energy up for Jack Commander on this Zarya now. Spirit Wizard pushing back. He has that Storm Arrow at the ready, finds Tomato Lord. There's the DMAC on the Cryptid. There goes Dez. There goes Cryptid. There goes the Lucio. And what just happened? The tables turned again.
Possibly overconfidence, not thinking that you were going to lose the fight, and then you put yourself in overly risky positions. Trying players on your team get picked off at terrible moments. And looking at what we have on the board, I believe we saw the Dragon Strike for sure come out from Poyito. That was likely from spawn. He had died early on in that.
But yeah, look at this from New Mexico State. They, in the last two fights, they used all of their ults, and they have a chance to push this back. But I think that was actually a really smart play from Texas Arlington. They knew New Mexico State was pushed so far back. They tried to force ults out, and that's what they did. And they were able to re-stabilize there. They're going to be able to set up their defense and try and take this ult advantage.
Definitely. We saw a few ultimates burn there. Tommy on that Ana ended up using the Nano Boost as well as the Earth Shatter from Tomato also coming out, trying to put a stop to the oppression that New Mexico has been putting on them on the payload. We'll see if the Junkrat's going to come up big here. Anybody get pit?
Itakiri did go down earlier to a Hanzo arrow, but Poyito and Tommy both go down. Kills on both sides. Poyito unable to be not up. He's not going to be able to pull this back. So much energy from Jack Commander, and of course that Coalescence as well. They're going to be able to push through the second point.
Point moving, and we have a little bit, it looked like that Schalk might have pushed up there, but just trying to scout out a little bit, see who might be up on the spawn, see if there was any sort of last-second swaps from the positioning that he was in. And throughout the Fire Strike, just trying to find any little bit. Oh my God, there's a pick in the back on Dez.
Yeah, that Moira Orb. Ergo finding so many picks. Somehow, just Texas Arlington getting caught out. They need to be more disciplined. And of course, New Mexico State going to push this advantage. They've been playing aggressive all game, but Poyito trying to punish them, splitting the team up with that Dragon Strike. Unable to find the damage he's looking for, though. And Schalk and Jack Commander played that perfectly. They went right down into the pit as soon as they saw that Dragon Strike. Not going to let themselves get cut off.
There was actually no kills there with the exception of the one at the very start to initiate the fight, but no ultimates really being burned. We'll find out who's... Oh, there we go. Rally's going to lead it off, and a sound barrier,
Tomato
and a
Lord
shatter.
nanoed, shattered, but the Grav Dragon comes out. Spirit Wizard finding two with that combo. Schalk going to come back and get taken down by Tomato Lord. The Diva Bomb from Moon Cryptid unable to find anything, but the advantage heavily in favor of New Mexico State right now. They need to get this Diva off the point.
It seems that Moon was trying to throw the mech, I believe, into the middle of New Mexico. I could be wrong on that, but it looked like he was expecting that momentum and for it to fly forward. So a little bit questionable for that, but the shatter comes in to open up.
Tomato Lord, a huge shatter, and this time there is follow-up. 2 kills coming down already. A Maywall for the defense as well, gonna split off this Rhine. That poor man gonna go down to that fire strike. Zonely gonna get caught out as well for trying to help his teammate, and that was a great turnaround once again from Arlington. They keep finding these at the 11th hour, just managing to turn it back.
They do, but it's so late that they finally find a little bit of footing, and then once New Mexico has a chance to reset, they always find a way to finish it out. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here. They do have a couple of ways that they can kind of move around the map. They can go around the main mid pillar. They could, of course, have gone through the middle section. They can go in back and take their time going around the high ground, but they're going right in.
Dez looking for damage on the side here, looking for an opening to come in. He gets spotted out. He's going to have to use that Wraith form. Maywall goes up, and this is just a brawl on the point here. Dez goes down, so very little damage for this defense. There comes a grab from Jack Commander. There comes the Dragons. So much damage from Spirit Wizard, finding 2 kills. Tomato Lord gonna shatter. He's able to find 1 on his own, but Spirit Wizard having none of it. Storm Arrow comes out. Here comes Dez to the point on that Reaper, but he's gonna get stunned, and he ends the round with the Death Blossom. Dez.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate there. We saw him have the Death Blossom the entire fight, but never found an opportunity to actually pop it, getting booped back away and away from the middle of the team. So probably not thinking that it would be as efficient. It's really unfortunate that you have such a big ultimate that can put out so much DPS in the middle of the team and not be able to utilize that.
You gotta love that awareness from New Mexico State. They knew that Dez had that Death Blossom. They saw him playing aggressively, and they game planned around it. They knew they couldn't let him get off a big ult, and they denied it. They didn't let it happen, and look at that, they pushed. But 38 seconds is not a lot of time, especially on Junkertown. So we'll have to see how Texas Arlington's push goes down.
I'm sort of not expecting this to go too long in terms of having like 5 to 6 points be put up on the board. I'm thinking that if UT does take this, it's going to end pretty quickly into the middle of the 3rd round, where of course teams get a chance to attack once more, and that will be down to, of course, the distance that you push the payload. This is impossible to tie on since it's going to be by that distance, so one team will 100% win or lose depending on what they're able to put up. But I do appreciate the May. How are you feeling about that on that last point?
Pulling out that May pick on the last point was such a smart play by Texas Arlington. I'm only disappointed that they couldn't take more advantage of it. They were able to split up the team, and I think especially with the Reaper, it's such a good combo, but I think the problem was their comms they must have been cluttered, because it seemed like the May would wall at a weird time, or maybe he just missed the wall, but I think the Reaper and the May should be working together more, especially in that type of comp. We're going to see Texas Arlington coming out here on this offense, but New Mexico State taking very aggressive positioning, not having any of it. Texas Arlington, they're going to get the nade. Shout goes down, but they're going to take down the Bastion. So New Mexico State got exactly what they were looking for. Can they push this advantage? Can they keep finding kills?
They led off there with the Maywall, splitting up the team, but didn't find much on the side of the defense. In fact, things are turning around for UT Arlington to try and start getting a push. It's just a matter of time now. Spawns are right there. They can heal up all of their health. They just have to peek in the spawn room, and we see the kill feed filling up with blue as UT Arlington finally gets his payload moving.
And again, this is exactly what I was talking about. Spirit Wizard on that May for the New Mexico State defense. He got the freezes, but there was nobody there to follow up on it. There's nobody with the May. You have to play around it.
I really appreciated the creativity that they had for that play. It's just a matter of execution, of course. So you got to give big props to Arlington to react to that. It's just great play for them to be able to back up by their spacing and then strike back.
And here comes New Mexico State looking to get a retake, Texas Arlington style. A shatter comes down from Tomato Lord, finds a few, gets a break kill there. Here comes a coalescence from Itakiri trying to keep his team up. The Maywall, though, denying those heals.
Nano Boost comes out to keep Tomato Lord alive, but Dez goes down. A huge grab from Jack Commander, finding so much damage, but Jack Commander going so low, he doesn't have any shields left. Moon Cryptid has so much damage at the ready. Can she turn this around? The sound barrier coming out. Oh, a Widow switch from New Mexico State. Sept finding a kill onto Itakiri already. No healing left for this Texas Arlington defense, but a huge Diva Bomb. Moon Cryptid finding 3, and that should be all for this first point. Texas Arlington should be able to comfortably push it to the end.
The moon is shining bright tonight, finding 3 with that self-destruct. Great utilization of that ultimate to be able to turn that round in their favor. 4:20 on the time as they're going to get into the second point here. And we will find out what they're going to be using. They're actually pushing up, trying to pick off the Zarya. Nothing found though.
Yeah, another weird wall coming out there. Maybe just kind of misplaced. A Blizzard coming out on the cart though. As we see, Tommy737 on this Ana getting taken down. But Dez coming right back. Spirit Wizard threw out that Blizzard, but he gets taken out. Dez on this Reaper has 2. He's looking for 3. There's 3. The Widow was so low, got out with that grappling hook. But Dez on the Reaper. Sepuremon on the Widow, able to find a headshot, but Poyito sending him on a nice vacation back to the spawn room.
The swap to the Widowmaker is a little bit interesting, especially with the second point and how late it happened into point A. But Dez was looking so good in that last fight, getting double, it looked like maybe even triple headshots as we have them pushing up. They're getting close to the end of the point right here. Dez, oh my god.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Dez with the Death Blossom, but again, not able to find the damage he's looking for. And a shatter comes down from Shauk. Dez goes down. Tomato Lord finds a big shatter of his own. Here comes the Diva Bomb from Cryptid. Unable to find the combo they're looking for this time, but both teams fighting it out for supremacy, and I think it looks like Texas Arlington might get pushed off this time.
Oh no, Arlington throwing out the grab late in the fight. Of course, Dez led off with the Death Blossom, but it was actually going to be Arlington that got that got the grab thrown on them and wasn't able to find much, and this fight's still dragging on. Not going to find too much more spacing though. UT Arlington has to retreat.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Poyito throwing out that grab very late in the fight after many team members were already dead. And look at this, Tommy and Dez getting staggered. Cryptid and Tomato are caught out. They're going to get staggered as well. A fantastic aggressive play from New Mexico State on this defense. Jack Commander getting so much damage on that Zarya.
That was such a good job for them to be able to chase down, realize that they had the advantage, and then just run down UT Arlington to stagger them even further. We're coming up on 2 minutes left on the clock. There will have 2 to 3 pushes left, depending on how efficient they can actually be. These fights have been dragged on for a good bit. Of course, the Moira enabling that with her orbs. Gotta wonder if the Diva is going to be able to turn the tide for that to be able to block a lot of healing. We'll see who pulls the trigger first for any ultimate. Coalescence comes out.
Texas Arlington coming through. Coalescence and rally for this New Mexico State defense. Here comes a Graviton from Jack Commander. So much damage into this Texas Arlington offense. How has nobody died yet? There goes Polito. There goes the shatter. Tomato Lord had the nano, but it might not be enough to keep him up this time. Cryptid gonna get knocked out of that mech, maybe? No, Cryptid actually gonna get away, but Tomato Lord and Tommy both gonna go down. Cryptid getting too greedy this time, and he's gonna get, they could have staggered him a bit longer there, but still a good play from the New Mexico State defense.
So in terms of ultimates, I don't believe we saw too much coming out from Arlington in that last fight. They might have planned that, but we did see them start off strong on the other side of New Mexico, leading off with the rally and just popping everything that they could in order to win that fight. This is a good position. The payloads moved back a bit.
And yeah, we're going to see Texas Arlington pushing through. The payload has moved back quite a bit, as you can see. Arlington unable to keep it where it was. Tomato Lord tried to get a shatter, but again, knocked down Shauk. Amazing play on this Reinhardt. Dez only finds 1 with that Death Blossom. Meanwhile, Shauk on the Rhine has just gotten his 4th kill of the fight. Here comes the tire from Sepuremon, and he doesn't even have targets because Rhine is killing everything. The Diva Mech going to get taken down, and there we go, another stabilization by this New Mexico State defense, and only 15 seconds left. That's 1 more fight for Arlington.
Nobody They need to avoid losing anybody on the side of UT Arlington, but they lead off with a grab. We'll see what they can do.
So little time left. New Mexico State just trying to keep them from even getting close to the payload. Tomato Lord has other ideas, though. Here comes the Nano. He's going to take down the Moira as well, but Sepurman on that Junkrat. Close range fight as Arlington has to stay on this payload. Here comes the Diva Bomb, but a Reinhardt up to keep everyone alive. The Graviton coming out from Poyito. I mean, can they find what they're looking for? So many people caught in it, but not enough damage.
We keep seeing the grabs coming out from Poyito so late in the fight. Not sure if that's a lack of communication or just not having it up and trying to just use what they have at the very end of the fight just because they're out of time at this point. It's in overtime. They're just fighting with whatever they have left, but there's only one person left. Overtime's finally ticking down, trying to take out the Lucio.
And New Mexico State keeps Arlington off the point. They're going to win Junkertown, and of course, lucky for you, audience, that means we're going to a map 3.
We're going to be taking it over to Hanamura, so 2 CP. For that, we will be able to hopefully have a bit of rounds there. Of course,
let's take a look at this play of the game from Tomato Lord. Nanoed with the Shatter. Finds one, finds two, finding even more. Unfortunately, we couldn't get this point of view during the match. Luckily, at the play of the game, we give Tomato Lord the credit he deserves. A good play by him. Well coordinated as well to get that Nano boost up.
Yeah, I think that especially on Junkertown, it seemed that the coordination for the ultimates from UT was lacking a bit, at least in regards to having the Shatter come out, and then you would see the self-destruct from Diva come out after the Shatter already hit. So by the time that they're already recovering from that, you had the Reinhardt being able to put up the shield, you had the Brigitte able to put up the shield, so they weren't impacted by that too heavily. So if they can just sort out their comms a little bit on Hanamura, I think that they can find themselves in a bit better position moving forward. But we'll see. You can't discredit New Mexico whatsoever, at least for how their play has been. So good job from them to be able to bring it back.
And of course, we are going to be going into Hanamura for the third map. And, you know, I mentioned that Goats isn't very good on Junkertown, and we still saw both teams running Goats as much as possible. So, I mean, is that what you're expecting to see coming out on Hanamura?
I would say teams might go for something like a Bastion, a Torb for point A. Things get really interesting on point B. You see Widowmakers come out, long sight lines on the point. It's a wide open area. You can get very high up on point B. Even point A is not too bad. Sometimes you lead off with that with an attack Hanzo so that you can break the shield, stay back towards the entrance to the point so that you can stay kind of around the archway and just rain down damage on the team, kind of split them up and force them to try to come to you. But of course, it really depends on what they're wanting to utilize moving forward.
Speaking of Torb, what are your thoughts on the new Torb changes that were announced yesterday?
It's going to be really interesting. I can appreciate not having to build up the turret for sure. I don't remember 100% if they said they were going to nerf the damage on the turret or if that was his primary fire. I think it possibly was
I think
both.
what they were doing was the turret is going to have less health but do the same damage.
During the build, it'll have less health, so you can probably...
No. It'll like have less health in general. Like it has 250 now instead of 300.
Ah, gotcha.
And I think another thing was both his primary fire and secondary fire was changed. They were both like overall buffed. Like the primary fire, I think the projectile speed is faster, and I think it does a little bit more damage now.
I know they were trying, or at least from their notes, they said they were trying to have more consistency for the damage output and then for the rate of fire and all of that. But it looks like his ultimate's going to move to a main ability, kind of in the same way that Symmetra, she had the teleporter move to a regular ability now. So he's going to be able to get those buffs for the armor, for the rapid fire. But they are taking away the scraps and the armor that you give to people, and they're actually going to have his ult shoot out kind of like little blobs on the ground, which is going to be
I think
like
it's going to be a
damage.
very interesting AoE, and I think Torb in this new state, I mean, we'll see how it goes when he gets pushed alive, but I think he could actually be a very interesting character going forwards. We're going to be seeing Texas Arlington on the defense first. New Mexico State coming out on this offense. They're going to be rolling up to choke very soon here, trying to contest and push onto this point. And here comes the hamster ball, slamming down the Mei, trying to knock people off. Tomato Lord able to get a charge kill on his Only, who got staggered out by that Mei wall. And look at this, Texas Arlington
taking notes perfectly, playing around this Mei, talking, communicating much better, it seems. A great charge onto Schalk there from Tomato Lord, and Spirit Wizard suddenly finding himself all alone. Wise man might say, all by myself.
I can appreciate... Oh, there was a sleep in the back there, so somebody's definitely going to be falling, I believe. But solid job. I can greatly appreciate Ultra being on the Pharah. They're chasing down... Who is this, Ergo?
Yeah, Ergo on the Moira got slept in the back by Tommy, and they're finally able to take him down. It took a while. One has to wonder, was that on purpose as a long stagger? Another great Maywall coming out. Schalk now on the Roadhog instead of the Hamster Ball. Might be a good switch, but so far it's not working out. Jack Commander goes down. Tomato Lord. Lots of damage at the ready. Spirit Wizard with a charge kill onto Dez, but so many kills for the side of Arlington. And I think Spirit Wizard's gonna have to reset himself here.
Definitely ends up taking a trip off of the map. Gonna go into the dirt in there. But as mentioned, for Ultra Poito being on this Pharah, it is such a good pit since you do not have any sort of hit scan or any sort of counters to the Pharah being so high up in the air. The Zarya can't reach her. The Brigitte definitely can't swing far enough. Might be able to get a little bit of hit on the flail, but it's going to be just so hard for them to be able to counter this. And I can greatly appreciate the Mei also acting sort of as a tank.
Oh, and here comes a barrage with the Nano. Poito finds 2, finds 3, looking for a 4th. Can that Brigitte go down? Did Sepiormon use Rally? No. I'm sorry, I saw a weird visual view. But Poito with a 4K on that Pharah, with thanks to a little bit of help from Tommy's Nano Boost.
The Nano Boost, as you mentioned, being able to heal up and that change to it is so good for DPS like this, because if you get low, insta-heal and damage boost for them. Typically when you focus them down, maybe you have a little bit of late healing coming in and try to shield or something like that. But it's going to be so good for keeping them alive for just a longer duration so they can get off all of that percentage. And Dez here has to go and heal himself, but the wall's being so impactful. Oh no!
He missed the wall! But as you mentioned with that Nano Boost, some people might say, you know, using it on DPS is wasting it because it can actually heal for 300. But I mean, I think Barrage is like the perfect use of the new Nano Boost to keep that Pharah alive, because, I mean, just think about, you let that Pharah get down low, and then at the last second you use that Nano Boost, and then there's no way they're going to kill that Pharah during that barrage, and then it enables so much damage output and damage output afterwards because they have that Nano to drop some rockets into that enemy team.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Mei ultimate come out in a little bit. That's gotta be something that New Mexico has in their mind for what they're wanting to do. The Winston didn't jump, so it looks like that they were able to keep everybody together, breaking down one of the pillars, though. This might be the time that they're gonna go.
Yeah, they're definitely got to be looking for some kind of engagement here. The Blizzard doesn't catch anyone, is able to freeze the Junkrat mid-air, but they are able to finish off the kill finally. And they might be able to win it just off of that. And of course, a barrage in the background from Poito. New Mexico State still staggering here because there's only 10 seconds left. I didn't even realize. Such a strong defense from Arlington.
Uh-oh. Yeah, they are in the final seconds. Nobody's going to be able to get there. It seems that Spirit Wizard's trying to kind of just hobble to the point in the air. Doesn't make it, though. So unfortunate. Not able to even get, I believe, a percentage on the board. We'll see in just a second here. And no time and 0% captured. So this will either end in a tie, considering that they can't get
much of anything. I don't even think they had a Lucio. They only had a Brig, I think.
I believe so for that.
So to only have a Brig for your healing, waiting for that Moira to come back from spawn, and for Arlington to recognize that and to push onto that advantage, keep going forwards, and really just take the fight when they wanted to, push that advantage and find the win.
Yeah, we are seeing adaptations from the teams, though. I can greatly appreciate, as mentioned, the Pharah. That's something that I felt has been lacking, at least earlier on in the stages. But it seems that teams are kind of warming up to it a little bit. Of course, it depends on who you have on your team for DPS. If you're going to have that projectile player, can they actually perform, especially in a tournament such as this, where, of course, it gets increasingly harder as you just move forward with everything. So,
and also to mention, it's not a familiar setup. I mean, being on that stage, there's a lot more pressure than you'd expect. Even at a smaller event like this, relatively smaller event like this, there's a lot of pressure, and it's very different. It's very difficult.
Yeah, we got an opportunity to talk to pretty much every single team for this event before we started, and the vast majority of them said that this was their first LAN for sure, and even just event in general. Most of the teams are pretty new, at least for being put together, most of them within the past month, maybe within the past couple weeks. There was only a couple of them that had been together for a prolonged period of time. Maybe the organization was around, but they weren't able to have as much practice as some of the other teams. So everybody's still kind of finding themselves, getting good experience, of course, regardless of win or loss. This is something that you can take away so much from.
But I think it is great here at OP Live. We have a chance to really put on that first event for them, give them their first LAN experience. I know we're having a good time.
Oh, I definitely am for everything. So definitely big shout out once more, of course, to our sponsors, the Dallas Fuel, putting this on, as well as Team Envy. So we will be getting into more quarterfinal matches as we progress forward, and then we'll eventually get into semis, and then, of course, make sure you guys stick around for the finals. Of course, a bit later on, we'll have some more power talks as we move forward, but we'll go to a quick break, and we'll be back with another quarters final match right after this.